Welcome to Strip Talking, a podcast from stripwalking.com.
God, this podcast sucks.
So do you know what the pirate's favorite letter is?
R.
They really love the C.
Shut the fuck up.
Never dealt with a stick that long.
Wouldn't the two circles represent tits?
Geoff is not, and I'm speaking myself in third person, I am not technologically advanced at all.
Did you have a fear boner?
It was probably the biggest fear boner I've had in quite some time.
Did you just say fear boner and your mom's gonna listen to this?
Here are your hosts, Geoff with a G and Mike with a...
Welcome to Strip Talking. This is Geoff. I'm here with Mike. How are you doing tonight, Mike?
I am doing absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. I can hear it in your voice. The exuberance. Yes, yes.
This is as excited as I get.
How's the week been?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Good.
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Exactly. So we like to start off this podcast with a little talk about something gambling related. And since I seem to be the only one providing content in that neighborhood right now.
Touche.
Touche.
So you did a little more craps dealing last night, did you, Geoff?
I did some. It was an interesting night. Again, our casino is fairly new. We're just getting everything kind of amped up, ramped up, whatever you want to say, as far as the hours that the table games are going to be open. And so they've opened the craps table for another day of the week. And so they asked me where we're getting more dealers trained. They asked me if I would come in to help out, which it turns out was a really good thing they did, because two of the other craps dealers happened to call in sick. We ended up opening the craps table, but because of the lack of help, we only opened it. Basically, they just half the table, or they call it half court is how they refer to it. So yeah, I mean, it was fun. You still have a fair amount of stuff going on your end, and get your hands dirty and in there and getting the reps in for sure.
Did you try and steal anyone's money again?
Not this time. Not this time. Let's see. Did I try paying anybody extra? I don't think I did that this time around. I took a lot of people's money. It was not a good night at the craps table for most people. Actually, the only funny story I have is, as you get to know Mike and I better, obviously you know that we both really like craps. That's kind of our game of choice. But betting strategy-wise, Mike and I differ quite a bit.
Not that much. Just one certain bet.
Okay, and what bet would that be, Mike?
Field bet. The fucking field bet.
And guess what? Guess who was the only person that walked away from the table with money on Sunday?
The big 6 and 8 guy.
Yes, that was it. No, it was not. There was one guy consistently betting the field, and he was the only guy that walked away from the table with any sort of money.
So every roll he was betting the field?
Yes, he was.
Was he playing the pass too?
He was, yes.
Anything else?
Occasionally he'd throw a 6 or 8 out there, but mostly the field bet and the pass line.
Not even a 6 or 8 most of the time.
Nope. Mostly just field bets. There was one roll, seriously, and I'm not even joking. There was one roll, and I think he was the one rolling that I bet he hit 6 or 7 field rolls in a row. And 2 or 3 of them were 2s or 12s. And so they were double the payout. I mean, the guy seriously at least tripled up his money that he bought in for just doing the field bet.
So since our mothers are the only people listening, why don't you explain what the field bet is?
Okay. Yeah, I would assume anybody that is listening with gambling knowledge or obviously with craps knowledge knows what we're talking about. But for those that don't, the field bet on a craps table is a one-time bet or one roll bet that the shooter will hit either a 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, or 12 with that particular roll. If they do, the player gets paid even money unless they roll a 2 or a 12. And then depending on the casino, all casinos pay out twice or double the payout on a 2. Some casinos will pay out triple the payout or triple on a 12, but ours just does double. I think most of them are moving to double. But yeah, so I mean, this guy, I think there were 2 or 3 times he threw down $75 or $100 on the field and got double. But everybody else that was just playing the pass line or placing bets, doing place bets, just got absolutely annihilated. So
Good stuff. Always good to hear a good field bet winner story. Love to hear those.
yeah, you don't. Mike is being extraordinarily sarcastic because every time we're playing craps together and I'm winning on the field bet, I'm getting either a dirty look or I'm getting the middle finger, one or the other.
My boring crap strategy is pass line, usually 1x odds, 6 and 8. Occasionally I'll go 5 and 9 also. But usually what happens is I won't be on the 5. I'll bet that stupid field bet and a freaking 5 will come up every time.
So what do? Bet the 5 and then what comes up? A field bet.
7.
That number that we shall not speak.
We can say it now, can't we?
Yeah, we can say it.
Or we're just never allowed to say it?
No, we can say it now. Although speaking of that, the 7, saying the 7, there was a story from the previous night that I have to tell you, and I don't know if I told you this or not, but it was dealing craps that night too.
So, sorry, before you get revved up and start talking, just so our mothers know, it's gambling superstition to say 7.
That's correct. You should not
at the craps table, because that generally is the number that will cost you a lot of money if that gets rolled.
That's correct. That's what brings me to that next point, is that the night before, when we had a full craps table, we had one guy at the beginning that was playing the don't pass. And he's actually cheering out loud saying the 7.
Which don't pass means you're betting on the 7.
You're betting you want the 7 to come versus the other one where you don't. Where most people play that they don't want the 7, and he's actually cheering out loud saying wanting the 7. And of course, it's not been a good night for the normal players. They're losing money. And every time the 7 comes up, he's cheering and hollering. He is getting dirty look after dirty look after dirty look. And then he has the nerve. He's sitting right by the base dealer on the left side of the table to say, "Oh, I don't really know how to play this game. Can you get me a sheet that tells me how to play?" And then he continues to play the don't pass and cheer when he wins. And everybody is just staring. They're just glaring at him. Well, I walk away when I went to go on break. I walk away and one of the floor managers grabs me and they said, "Do you know who that guy is?" I'm like, "No, I have no clue." And they're like, "Look at him. He's got his shirt inside out. His hair isn't combed. And then he's cheering like a madman every time a 7 comes up." So anyway, I go to break, come back later, and the night as the table starts to die down, all of a sudden I look over and there's this guy again with 4 of his buddies, and they're all playing the don't pass. They're all cheering for the 7. It was wild.
In most of the movies, when they show craps and people winning big, they're always rolling 7s.
I know. It's so inaccurate.
Like Vegas Vacation, he's always rolling 7s, isn't he?
Until the end. So when he gets on that table, when Nick Papagiorgio gets on the table, his first roll, it's a come-out roll, he rolls a 7.
I thought it was always a 7 he was rolling.
Well, he rolled a 7, and then the mob guy rolled. If you pay attention, which I never did until I learned the game of craps, the mob guy then presses his bet, and so he presses his bet. And then, but at the end, after his big roll, they do say 7, 7 out. And so at the beginning, he was rolling 7s because he was on the come-out roll, and so he was, before he established a point, he was hitting a lot of 7s, so he was making people money there. But in general, you are correct.
That big win was all just come-out rolls?
No.
Like 37s in a row?
No, we'll have to at some point talk about some of the gambling movies, because if you look at that part of the movie, there are a whole bunch of bets placed, like place bets, and he has a pass line bet and odds and all that stuff. So
anyway, my point is probably that guy probably thought that that's how you win. You roll a 7.
The 7 was a good number. Yeah, he was an interesting dude.
I like the guys that come up and they're not on anything that wins on like a 3, but a 3 rolls and they just clap.
Woohoo! 3.
Yeah.
Woo!
12. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's me, because I normally got a pass, or I normally got a field bet down there.
No, I'm talking about the guys that don't have a bet on it,
Oh, gotcha.
which is me.
Which is you. That's also true. So yeah, so that was my dealing story from the other night, or a couple of dealing stories. Oh! I have one more story. I totally forgot about this. Can I tell another story?
We're done for tonight, Jeff. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll.
Thanks for coming out.
So there was a guy. There was a guy standing next to me when I was the bass dealer. He was he was playing, obviously, and there was a girl standing next to him, talking to him the whole time and everything. And the guy goes to break, or like he goes to the bathroom, so he steps away from the table. Well, this girl steps into his spot. Well, we're all assuming that they're together because she was talking to him, he was talking to her, and so she's playing for him and all this stuff. And then he comes back. She leaves for a little bit. And we were talking to this guy, and we're like, oh, so, is your girlfriend? He's like, I don't even know who she is. I don't even know her name. He didn't know who it was. and she came in there.
Did he know she'd been playing?
Well, she didn't make any bets. He had put money down on the pass line and then went to the bathroom. And so she was just standing there. So she didn't actually make any further bets with his money. But it was funny that we all thought they were together and that she was playing for him. So we introduced them and we're giving them shit the whole time.
Sounds like you made a love connection.
That's right. We all, not only do we take your money, provide you entertainment, we can give you a hookup.
She might have been a hooker.
Yeah, I don't know that our casino is big enough yet to have those kind of people there. Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, I think it is.
Okay.
Any casino is big enough for hookers. That's what I've heard.
That's what you've heard.
That's what Tom Osborne tells me. The minute you have gambling, it just goes to hell. The whole town goes to hell.
I think that's a big part of the reason why Nebraska did not have casinos for the longest time, was because Dr. Tom opposed them very strongly. Yep. And a lot of people listen to what Dr. Tom says.
True.
So yeah, that's my dealing story. I don't know. Do you have any input or questions about it, or you ready to move on?
I've provided all the input I've got to provide.
Okay. All right. So moving on, I know one of the things that we were discussing before we started recording tonight is that as we have grown as a website and a kind of a project, we've reached out and met some different people in the Vegas community that we felt it would be interesting to get their ideas on certain questions that we had about Las Vegas and what they find interesting about it. And so we sent some questionnaires out, got some answers back. But one of the interesting questions that we've asked each one.
Only interesting to us.
Well, it's interesting to us. Yes, it's interesting to us, being that we're from Nebraska, is that we have asked these individuals if they could name a city in Nebraska that wasn't Lincoln or Omaha. And the answer from all of them has been
nada.
Nope.
I wouldn't say city. I would say town, maybe.
Okay. Incorporated village in the state of Nebraska.
Municipality.
Municipality. That's a big word.
Thank you.
So in response to that, we thought we might do a little educational section or segment of our podcast.
So I got on Wiki and looked up every single, or there's a list of every city. There's like 500 and some of them, 550 incorporated places in Nebraska.
That's shocking that there's that many.
Yeah, there's a good number of them that are like less than 10 people. Some of them, though, are pretty easy to remember. There's a Virginia, Nebraska, which makes total sense to me.
Yeah, well, why not?
Why wouldn't you have Virginia, Nebraska? It's probably Nebraska, South Dakota. There's an Oakland, Nebraska.
O-Town.
Yeah.
That's a band, too.
You want to stay out of Oakland, Nebraska.
Didn't the Raiders move out of Oakland? Move to Las Vegas?
Yes. Oakland, California.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Nebraska. I didn't know.
Yeah. It's easy to get them confused.
I would guess so.
Oakland, Nebraska is a little more dangerous.
Yeah, you better be strapped.
Louisville, Nebraska. Is it Louisville or Louisville?
Louisville.
Yeah, that's how they say it in Nebraska.
Is Louisville? I don't know. It's Louisville.
I have no idea. I've never been there.
I don't even know it. I think it's down by Omaha, isn't it? Between Lincoln and Omaha.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Harvard. Did you know there was a Harvard, Nebraska?
I did know there was a Harvard. I have cousins that live in Harvard.
Do you now?
I do. They're the Harvard Cardinals.
This next one is a country and an awesome song by Van Halen.
Panama.
Don't sing.
Okay, I'll not. I'll refrain.
I actually had not heard of Panama, Nebraska. Had you?
You didn't know about Panama, huh?
No.
And you say you've lived here your entire life.
I think it'd be pretty easy for you to say you'd heard of it when you hadn't. I suppose you've got cousins there too.
No cousins in Panama.
Madrid?
Yeah, I've heard of Madrid, but I'm not 100% sure where it is in the state.
Where's Panama?
Good question. I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is, honestly.
Nobody cares except us. Waco.
I know of Waco.
Very famous. Branch Davidians live there.
A branch of the Branch Davidians.
Just one guy.
Yeah, it's one guy. David Cornish. I know, that's dumb. That's dumb.
That's not bad. Just think of that on the spot. Look at you.
I did.
Jeez, don't drink your soda. The microphone's going to pick that up.
Nobody's going to care. Mom's not going to care. She's glad I'm hydrating.
Before there was New Orleans, there was just Orleans. I guess it'd be Orleans, wouldn't it?
It is Orleans. Orleans.
Yeah, Orleans, Nebraska. So it must be New Orleans, not New Orleans.
Nope. I think New Orleans came before Orleans. But I was a fan of Orleans when they had a high school. They're a consolidated school
Boring.
now. I think their mascot was the Oriole. The Orleans Orioles. If I remember right. Could be wrong. And as you can tell, Mike has gained access to some new sound effects. Mike, wake up.
All right. So easy to memorize ones. Here's the list. Next time you get asked this question, if you're not from Nebraska, you can nail this question. First one I thought of, obviously, David Letterman used to have, if you're old enough to remember David Letterman, his top 10 list used to be from Wahoo, Nebraska. Remember that?
Yep, I do. There was a sign that said that it was, when I used to drive by it, there was a big sign about David Letterman and Wahoo.
Yeah. My dad is from Gurley, Nebraska.
From Gurley?
Gurley, yeah.
I did not know that one.
You didn't?
No, I didn't know
Mr.
that one.
Know-It-All didn't know that one?
Hey, now. That's almost nasty.
It's by Sydney. Do you know Sydney?
Of course I know Sydney. Yep.
Surprised. Winnebago.
Winnebago. Yep. Northeast part of the state.
Named after the RV.
Yep, I think that's part of it. I think that is.
This is all facts here. Valentine.
Valentine. Been to Valentine many times.
Seems kind of normal to us, but I mean, it's named after a holiday, so.
I know.
Surprise, Nebraska. How does a town get named Surprise?
It's a very good question. It seems like they might even be shocked at that.
Shut the Dix.
It is in the western part of the state.
So you and I know how it's spelled, but when you just pronounce it, it's Dix.
Yep, it's spelled, for those of you that are not in the know, it's spelled D-I-X.
There is a Dix, Nebraska.
But it's not big. It's not big at all.
It's a little Dix.
Well, yeah, it's not a big one.
But there's two towns with beaver in the name. Can you name them? Name them both?
I can. Beaver City and Beaver Crossing.
Correct. Show off.
You want to know why?
Why you can name them or why they're named after beavers?
No, I have no idea why they're named after beavers, but I do have a good joke about beavers, or about Beaver Crossing anyway. You want to hear it?
Okay. Of course.
All right. Did you know there's a Beaver Crossing, Nebraska?
Yes.
Must be tired. Now, don't you make fun of that joke. That was my grandma's joke.
Okay, Gross, Nebraska. Did you know there's a Gross, Nebraska? Population 3.
I would have to say no, I did not.
But Gross is not the smallest incorporated town in Nebraska. Population of 2. It's Monowi, M-O-N-O-W-I. And that was in 2020, so they might be dead at this point. Who knows?
It's a good chance.
There's also a couple like Butte. So if you mispronounced it.
I do know where that one is, too. For those of you who don't know, Butte is B-U-T-T-E.
My daughter would say but.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do.
And so I assume it's Hyannis, but I am definitely in my head saying Hyannis.
It is Hyannis. Don't make fun of Hyannis. No, I'm serious. Don't make fun of Hyannis.
I wouldn't dream of it.
I'm just joking.
I would make fun of Uranus.
But not Hyannis. It is, yeah, been through that little community many, many, many times.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all I got. You want to hear some more podcast names?
I actually have 2 names that you didn't list. Well, 3 names.
For podcasts?
No, for Nebraska towns.
Okay.
You didn't even list an Atlanta. There's an Atlanta, Nebraska.
I'm scanning 500 and some.
Atlanta's got to be
towns.
one of the first like 10 or 15 names.
It was by population.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not going to be a big population. How about Sparks? There's a Sparks, Nebraska.
Did I say funk?
You didn't say
I
Funk.
think I forgot to mention funk. That was on my list.
And then the last one I think that has to be mentioned is the one that is named Worms. You knew there was a Worms, Nebraska, right?
Yes, I have cousins there.
You do not. You're such a bad liar. But interesting note, and I'm not sure if it's still open, but in Worms, Nebraska, there was a bar that was called the Nightcrawler. How adorable of a name is that? So anyway, for those of you that wanted some more Nebraska name knowledge, town name knowledge, there you go.
2 tools who like Tool podcast.
You're going back to that.
That's a good one. It's right here on my list after my town names.
Mike loves lists.
Everybody loves lists, Jeff.
I agree. Speaking of lists, I think it'd be fun if we had a little segment, since we're new to the podcasting world, if we had a little segment of each show that was a random list of our favorite things, depending on the topic.
Let me guess the topic.
You guess the topic. Are you choosing the topic?
I'm gonna guess your topic.
Okay, what's my topic?
Top casinos in Vegas that are gone that you miss.
No, that's my top choice for posting on Twitter or X.
I think you've posted that question like 8 times.
Yep, and I get a response every time.
Just rephrased it.
It's okay. I'm fine with that.
Good.
Okay, so here's my idea for this week, or this episode. What are your top 3?
Best Long John Silver's menu item.
They all taste the same. Good, but they all taste the same.
That is true. Do they still have the onion rings?
Oh, I don't think they have the onion.
Remember when they came out with onion rings? It tasted exactly like the chicken. They used the same exact batter.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why the chicken and the fish don't taste hardly any different. They all taste like the batter that they use.
No, I can't eat fish.
You can't
Has to
or
be
you
chicken,
won't.
No.
You can't or you won't.
I can't. Because I have a physical reaction to it.
Bullshit.
I gag.
I think that's all in your head.
No, I gag. I definitely gag.
Oh, my God. Oh, Mike Order.
So I've got a great mom story then.
Okay.
As kids, did your mom make you stay at the table like till you finish things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So she would make these nasty frozen fish sticks that would just stink up the room.
Mm-hmm.
And they were awful. And she would make us eat them. And that involved a lot of holding my nose and gagging, maybe even a little vomiting. And that's probably why I won't eat any fish to this day.
See, but that's part of the problem is you got to try some good fish. Those old fish sticks were not good fish.
I can't, the smell of it, the smell of fish just makes me want to vomit.
Well, but I don't know if it's the smell because fish in general, for the most part, should not really have that much of an odor. I know you don't believe me, but it's the truth. Some fish do.
I don't. I'm trying to think of a funny way to insult you. I'm drawing a blank.
You'll come up with something. It might be in 20 minutes, but you'll come up
I'm really
with
off
something.
my game. Usually
You
I'm pretty
are.
quick at that.
You are. Usually that's one of the things that really comes naturally to you is insulting me.
Yeah. There's just so much pressure with this podcast.
So anyway, since we're not going to have enough things to talk about with Long John Silver's top 3, how about we do...
Well, maybe it's just a top 1 of a bunch of different topics.
No, you got to have a top 3.
All right, Geoff, you're the podcast expert.
I didn't say I was the podcast expert. How about we do... let's do your top 3.
Ice cream, go.
Top ice cream flavors?
Yes.
Top 3.
Yes, 1 flavor, go. No, just go.
Mint chocolate chip. That's not my top 1, but it's one of my top 3.
You're missing the point, Geoff.
I am missing the point. I thought we were doing a top 3.
We're doing a rapid fire, one thing.
Okay, rapid fire.
Bunch of different topics.
Okay.
And then we'll do your top 3 thing, and we'll see which one's better.
Okay, it's fine. Okay,
we'll let the listeners decide. So it's going to be your mom chooses yours, my mom chooses mine. It's going to come down to that guy
that's sleeping.
That's always sleeping.
All right, so my favorite ice cream is chocolate.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty boring.
What's yours?
I think chocolate chip. That's less boring than just plain old chocolate.
Oh, God, no.
We're talking no toppings, right? Just straight ice cream?
Just straight ice cream.
Chocolate chip or chocolate chip cookie dough?
See, I love chocolate chip cookie dough, but chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream is not even in my top.
Yeah, I'd say regular chocolate chip. Best chain pizza, go.
Best chain pizza?
Big chain across most of the country. So Domino's, Papa John's, Pizza Hut. What else we got? Little Caesars.
Godfather's. That's not really...
It's pretty regional, but...
Godfather's and Valentino's would be regional. I'm probably going to say Domino's is my favorite.
Papa John's.
You like Papa John's?
If you're going to throw in Godfather's, I'll take Godfather's, but I think that's more regional.
Does the Papa John's have to be stuffed crust?
No, if you're going to say stuffed crust, I'm going to take Pizza Hut because they're the original and still the best. I have plenty of opinions on pizza. You know that.
Yes, I know that you do. Pizza and Mike are almost synonymous.
I'm a connoisseur of pizza.
You're a connoisseur. That's another big word.
Breakfast cereal, go.
It's kind of can I have a tie?
No, has to be one.
My top one is going to be honeycomb with a close second being cinnamon toast crunch.
Cinnamon toast crunch, definitely.
It surprises me because when we lived together, which, spoiler, Mike and I used to live together. Mike used to have.
Not like that.
Yes, no.
College roommates.
Like college roommates. Was peanut butter Captain Crunch, if I remember right.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Nope.
You can tell them about my brilliance.
I don't have anything to say. Mike does not like soggy. Mike does not like soggy cereal. So,
does anybody?
I don't let my cereal get soggy. I eat it too fast. But Mike does not eat cereal with milk on it. I don't know. Do you still do that?
I have refined it now. So now I'll take 2 solo cups, pour milk in one, cereal in the other. Take a swig of cereal, take a swig of milk.
Oh, my God.
Perfectly crunchy cereal and milk every time, every bite.
Oh, that's too funny.
What's funny about it? It's brilliant.
It's genius.
Okay, here's one we'll disagree on, but it might be kind of hard for you because you can't go regional. Best fast food French fries.
I knew we were going with this one. I have to put a caveat on it. Are they fresh or have they been sitting there for a while?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. Makes a huge difference.
What's the best non-fresh French fries?
It's a valid question. There's some I like better that aren't. I mean, some of them
See,
that are
there's no
not.
Caveat.
Okay. Mike, I know what your answer is going to be. Your answer is going to be McDonald's fries all day, every day.
What everybody's answer should be.
No, I disagree.
So what is yours? So you would pick a mostly Nebraska chain called Runza.
Yes, I would.
But if you have to go national, what are you going to pick?
Well, I can start eliminating some. I would eliminate Burger King. I would eliminate...
Burger King suck, yes.
I would eliminate Wendy's.
Wendy's, the whole restaurant sucks.
I do like Arby's curly fries.
No. See, a lot of people like those. They don't like the curly fries.
Fine, I'll give it to you. If I can't pick my favorite, it's McDonald's then.
I mean, they're pretty good.
But if you get a batch that's not fresh, like they've been sitting there for 5 minutes, they're as bad as the worst ones like Burger King and Wendy's.
Well, that's every place, though.
And
like cold fries are cold fries. There's no good cold fries.
If they were good cold fries, they would serve them as cold fries. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
There you go.
I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, how about some crab fries from
Chicky and Pete's?
Chickies and Pete's?
Yeah, that's good stuff. Those are good. Not going to argue there.
Sahara. It's a reason to go to Sahara in Vegas.
Might be the only one. although I do think that at some time I do want to go down there, and it's probably going to cost me an arm and leg to do it. But I would love to try that Bazaar
meats.
by Jose Andres.
I agree. There's a lot of restaurants there's just so many of them.
Oh yeah, I think we'll have to do an episode on just restaurants at some point.
I'm not sure we have experienced enough of them.
Probably not. I'm just saying at some point.
After we get sponsored
by Chicky and Pete's.
That'd be all right.
I'm thinking if we got an Earl of Sandwich sponsorship, I'd be in frickin' heaven.
Yes.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong there?
No.
At Earl of Sandwich, we're open to sponsorship deals.
Yes. We've got one, 8 hours away now?
Yep. There's one fairly close. Well,
Deadwood?
not for Deadwood, South Dakota.
That's not fairly close.
No, it's not, but it's close enough. It's closer than
Just
Vegas.
run up to Deadwood. The fries might get cold on the way back.
They don't have fries.
I know. I was just mocking you.
Oh, okay. Mock away.
Try and keep up. All right. Let's do your stupid little three-person thing list.
My stupid little
I'm sure it'll be great.
Since we were so rudely interrupted by your brilliant idea, let's try this whole idea of a rando top 3. Let's say I said that I wanted you to tell me your top 3 flavors of pie. Go.
Cherry, caramel apple, cherry.
In what order? First and third is cherry?
Cherry is by far the best, which is controversial, I know.
I do find it kind of interesting that one of your top flavors is not just apple, but it's caramel apple. Does it have to have the caramel for it to be good?
No, apple's still good, but caramel apple's way better.
I also find that interesting because I like apple pies. Actually, there are very few pies I do not like, but apple pie I find to be a very good pie, and I don't think a caramel adds that much to it.
Third one would be pumpkin.
With whipped cream,
smothered in whipped cream.
I was just going to say with whipped cream. So you really can't even taste the pumpkin pie. It's just whipped cream and crust.
It's at least 70-30 whipped cream.
Okay, that's fair.
The next person after you to get whipped cream should be like looking at you like, what the
Did you leave me any?
Exactly.
And the answer is no, I didn't. So my top 3 in that situation, you're going to turn up your nose, I know, at least at one of them.
It's going to be like rhubarb or some shit like that.
No. Well, I do like strawberry rhubarb, but it's not my top 3. Number 3 is probably going to be peach pie. Number 2 would be coconut cream. And number 1 would be cherry. I would agree with the cherry. Cherry's the best.
Well, at least you got the cherry right. And I've had a lot of arguments with people. Not a lot of people say cherry's that good.
What do they pick then?
Apple, I don't know. My brother-in-law is a big chocolate, which I don't get chocolate. I like chocolate, but not chocolate pie. I don't get chocolate pie.
Yeah, to me, it's just basically pudding in a pie crust.
Yeah. What'd you say? What was the cream one?
Coconut cream.
Was it banana cream, was it?
No, coconut cream.
So normally I'm not a banana cream, but when we went to Hawaii, they had these little banana cream tarts at the luau we went to.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, those were just hitting the spot for me.
Were they freaking amazing?
I was just pounding those things. And then I'd be taking the girls and they'd be getting pissed at me. And I'd be telling them to go get some more and bring me back some. Pregnancy craving.
Yeah, well, there might have been.
I am expecting, so.
Care to share any interesting stories about that trip?
It was fun. I suggest people do it, yes.
Yeah. So tell me more. So you flew out from Omaha, went to LA or Denver?
Denver,
Denver, and then flew to.
which makes it a long ass flight to Lahui. We stayed on Kauai, the island of Kauai, which I discovered I was saying it wrong. I was saying it Kauai. It's Kauai.
Really? I would not have known that. I was thinking it was Kauai as well. So you went there because your original trip to Maui got moved because of the fires. Is that right?
Yes. Had a trip lined up. I booked it in June for December, maybe May. But I think the fires were in August. Obviously, that's a bad situation. After it happened, debated a little bit whether we should wait it out and see what happens. But once the reports started coming in and we started seeing some of the devastation and that kind of stuff, I knew we just should pick a different island and try Maui a different time after they had time to recover a little bit.
Yeah, that was quite a bad deal. One of the reasons you chose December, if I recall, was a certain occurrence that happens in the ocean at that time. Can you give me more information on that?
Yes, but that was because we thought we were going to stay in Maui.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's whale season.
it is whale season. So did you get to see whales?
Not a single one, Jeff. Thanks for bringing it up.
You bet. You bet. I thought I would do my best to rub it in.
So there is maybe some spots when we did a horseback riding thing, which was pretty cool, actually. The guide said at one point, we saw a couple whales out there yesterday, but I don't see anything today. Maybe he tells that to all the guests, though.
Could be.
But so Maui is the spot to be for whales all along that western coast, which is where we were going to stay. You just see them all the time, I guess.
Have you seen, I know you've been to Hawaii a few times. Have you seen the whales?
Not in Maui, actually. So we went to Maui, and our first trip was in August, which is not whale season. We did go December of 2019, right before the Big C. We went to the Big Island, which is kind of the southern end of it. And we did take a tour on a boat that was supposed to be a whale searching tour. And we did see a few. Nothing fantastic where they jumped out of the water or anything, but we did see them underwater a little bit. For as many times as we've been there, no, we really haven't got a good look at very many of them.
Have you, this is totally off the topic, but have you seen some of those videos on social media? And I don't even know where they're at, but where people are like, they're almost like standing like on a dock. Looks like it's Alaska or something like that. And some of those whales will come up and they'll come up to the surface right there by the dock. Those things are enormous.
Yeah, they're huge. When we went out on that trip on the Big Island, it does occur to you that those things are way bigger than the boat we're on.
Yeah.
They're smart creatures. I think they're pretty aware of you and the boats and everything. If they wanted to end you, I think they could.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that in your experience, they have not decided that they wanted to end you.
No.
So you talked about the horseback riding thing. Tell me a little more about that.
Well, we rode some horses.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good story.
There's a location in Kauai that claims to be the wettest place on Earth. And Kauai in general is known for a lot of rain, waterfalls, scenic, but a lot of rain. I took my drone thinking I would fly it around at some point and get some good shots. And the very first morning was beautiful. I wanted to sleep, so I thought I'd fly it a different day. And after that morning, it was wind or light mist / rain or both pretty much the entire trip.
And so there was no more opportunities.
Yeah. And those drones, they can handle quite a bit of wind. I don't know about the rain so much, but it was just persistent. And it wasn't like most of the time, so the horseback riding we showed up and it was probably raining the heaviest of the whole trip, right? As we're arriving for our horseback riding. And we're all there was a couple other groups that were there and we're all kind of looking at each other like,
is this going to happen? We're going to get soaked.
My genius family was wearing shorts. None of us were dressed appropriately at all. The guides show up and they're saying, are we going to do this? And we looked at each other and, we're not going to come back. It's the only horseback riding place on Kauai. We had already had also scheduled the Nepali Coast, I think is how you say it, on the west side. It's only accessible by helicopter or boat. And it's where they filmed a lot of the stuff for like Jurassic Park.
Okay.
It's just big, huge cliffs and blue water and rocky and beautiful, but you can't just drive to it. You got to take a boat. So we had scheduled a boat tour around there, and that had been canceled because of weather. And they had canceled it days before we were supposed to have it, just because they knew the weather was going to be bad. So we didn't really want to cancel this too. And so the guy dug out some raincoats. It turned out that everybody else there must have been on some other horseback tour, because we ended up by ourselves with the guide, just our family.
Oh.
The rain did stop. It was probably 15 minutes in. It was a long tour. It wasn't, I kind of just expected maybe they trot us down the road and walk us up to the water and then we'd come back. But it was up and down hills, amazing views of the ocean. And then we went down to the ocean and walked across little streams and stuff. It was pretty badass.
Nice. Well, that sounds like it was worth it.
It was. And it was expensive. So it better have been worth it.
Well,
I think it was about $250 a person.
Well, yeah, that's definitely pricey, but I'm glad it felt like it was worth it. You also mentioned a lot about that Kauai is home to a lot of waterfalls. So did you get to do any hikes or go up to the waterfalls, swim in waterfalls, anything along those lines?
Horseback riding, and then the Secret Falls trip was probably 1A as far as coolest things we did. That one was, you started on the Wailua River. Taking a guess on that. It's the only river big enough for boats, I think, in all of the Hawaiian Islands. They don't have rivers to the islands, so there's not a lot of rivers.
Huh.
This one's, at least where we were, was fairly substantial river. Got in kayaks and paddled, I think it's a couple miles down to this trail. And then we walked this trail for a couple more miles, which was, again, much more than I expected for somebody that's not really a hiker. At one point, we're wading across the river in almost waist deep water. So it was pretty legit trail. The end of it was, the common name is Secret Falls. There's some other actual name for it, but it's like 125 foot straight down into this pool of water you could swim in.
Wow.
It's a movie type waterfall. It's pretty
nice.
cool.
And I'm sure you got plenty of pictures of that. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
With and without mermaids.
I think it would be interesting if we were able to come up with some sort of I don't know if a Flickr page or if they even do Flickr or something like that, but just it's hard probably for some people, like even me. I mean, I've seen, some of your pictures, but to see what some of these places look like or picture them in our mind without a frame or reference.
If I ever do it again, I would definitely film it for strip walking.
Yeah.
Make a map of that. It would have been a perfect, the kayaking down and back and the trail.
Well, and I think that is, like I said, something that I think people would find very interesting. It's just, I don't know. I don't consider myself old, but at this point in my life, I don't know that I am going to make it to Hawaii at any time. So sometimes it's nice to be able to live vicariously through other people that do have that opportunity. I think, and obviously I'm talking about Hawaii here, but that's one of the benefits I think about our website, thestripwalking.com, about Las Vegas and other places. People may never make it to the areas of Las Vegas that we've been to. People may never make it to Disneyland in California. They may never make it to Hawaii. They may never make it to some of the other places that we're looking to go and film. Why not take that opportunity to check these places out and see what's there?
Yep. And to know what you're getting into. Like, I would have loved to know that, holy shit, this hike it's not a simple little quarter-mile walk down a driveway. It's climbing on things, climbing up rocks and crossing rivers, and freaking Lewis and Clark out here.
Well, I think that is valid. And I don't know. I mean, I know we only have 3 people listening to this, but if we had other people that were interested or were curious to see some of those things, it'd be nice to know what they would be interested in seeing.
Yeah, I was kicking myself when I got back for not filming that. Although it was, like all the days, a little bit drizzly and rainy. but
Yeah.
I think we could have got it done, or I could have got it done. When you go, you can film it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm not sure.
We can get you there.
I'm not sure if it'll ever happen in my lifetime, but that's okay. We'll see. Something to shoot for.
Oh, it'll happen. We'll get you on the credit card points train. I didn't spend any money on airfare. I didn't spend any money on hotels. Spent a shit ton on food, but that's another story.
Yeah.
It's hard to avoid that.
Obviously, anywhere you go to travel these days is pricey in general, but your points and credit card loyalty programs information, I think a lot of people would be able to use that to help them maybe see, these locations that maybe seem like they're unattainable, that you could find an avenue to help those people, get to those places that they're interested in seeing.
So I would not be going to these locations without credit card points. That's a fact. I mean, we stayed at a Hyatt property, so I just used Hyatt points, and we flew United. All you need is Hyatt points and United points, and you can get those from opening 2 or 3 credit cards.
Yep. I think that's going to be a valuable bit of information when we get more into it for those people that are looking to take advantage of the situation like that. And I know, and when we get there, I know you'll explain that it's not for everybody to do for different reasons.
You have to be disciplined.
Yeah. But at the same time, and I know I'm just taking a guess here, and I know you know the exact number, but you and your family have taken many trips, various places, whether it be Hawaii, whether it be Orlando, California, Las Vegas, all over using these points. We'll get into that more in another episode.
And I often think if I didn't have those damn kids, how many more I could take.
He's saying that lovingly.
I'm just kidding.
I know you are.
Actually, on trips we go by ourselves, feel a little guilty. Like, wish I had the kids here. They're missing this incredible whatever it is.
Yeah. Well,
We've actually taken them to Vegas.
I know that is a hot button topic, kids in Vegas. However, for those of you that are not really into kids being in Las Vegas, I think that and again, this could be another complete episode on its own, but I think there's a place for kids in Vegas. Do I get irritated with kids in Vegas sometimes? Yeah, there are just some things about it that don't mix. And it's when parents take their kids to Vegas and they supervise them and show them the proper areas or things there in Las Vegas, I don't have any problem with it.
Yep, totally agree. And I totally get pissed at people too. People that it's 2 a.m. and they're walking through a casino with their toddlers and a newborn and carrying them in their hand. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not the place for that.
We stayed at the Waldorf, no casino. I don't think we probably had them out past about 8 every night.
And they had a blast.
They did have a blast. Getting places once in a while, we might have gone through a casino here and there, but they really weren't in many casinos. Occasionally, they probably saw a showgirl on the sidewalk. Was about the most scandalous thing they saw. They absolutely loved the high roller, loved it after being scared to go on it.
Yeah. And the fountains, they liked the fountains a lot, didn't they?
Yep. Saw some kid-friendly shows like Matt King and the America's Got Talent. They like that.
And didn't you go to Tournament of Kings at Excalibur as well?
Oh, yeah. That was probably one of their favorites, too.
Yeah. So many topics we could get into here about theming with Excalibur. I know people call it the Dirty Castle and don't really care for it much, but man, I still have a soft spot in my heart for that place.
Well, I mean, that was our honeymoon spot, so I definitely have a soft spot for it. But it is dirty as hell at this point.
Well, there's definitely some things that need to be taken care of, but again, it's I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be.
No.
Obviously, it's not in the same category or tier as your Aria or Bellagio or Wynn or even Caesar's Palace. But I think for somebody that's looking to go on an affordable way to Las Vegas, it's not a bad place to stay.
I don't think it's any worse than like a Flamingo or a Harrah's or any of those bottom end Caesar's properties.
No, I would agree with that.
As far as room, they probably got a little better location, obviously, but room wise, it's hard to differentiate a lot of those properties. Even
right.
Like a Paris or something like that, or a Planet Hollywood. The base rooms aren't that much better than like an Excalibur, I don't think.
Right.
Maybe a little bit cleaner, but just depends on the room you get.
Now that we've circled back a little bit to Las Vegas we kind of gone a little circuitous route here, but I have to be honest with you. One of the things that I've been seeing lately, and even my last trip, which was in December, I made it to this property for the first time in I don't know how many years, but that I'm super excited about is kind of the re-emergence of Rio.
Yeah.
I think there are possibilities with that property with the right people, which it sounds like this company, is it Dreams? I don't remember. I'd have to look to see who has purchased it and is doing the refurbishing and not rebuilding, but kind of renewing the property. I think they're doing a good job. I think they'll get some people to come back over there. It's still going to suffer from the location issue, but if they can give some people a reason to come, which it sounds like they're trying to do, it's really, I mean, I've walked it. You know that. I walked from Caesars to Rio.
It's less than 15 minutes. Go check it out on our website.
That's exactly right. Stripwalking.com. It is no further than walking from Caesar's Palace to New York, New York.
No, it's time and distance wise. No. Now, safety wise, it's probably fine. But I think sometimes there's a little bit of security in just having a lot of people around.
There is. Not that bad things couldn't happen.
And that walk is right. But yeah, bad things could happen with a bunch of people around too. But it's not as long a walk as you think.
No, there are a couple things that are going on at Rio that really make me want to go back. And I don't know if it's going to happen the next time I make it out there or not. My favorite show that I've been to in Las Vegas has been Penn and Teller. And they've had a long time residency there at Rio. I love that show. Fantastic show. But they also have put a new food court in with the new owners. You know, Vital Vegas has even mentioned that he really, really is a fan of this chicken strip place. They've got all kinds of flavors, sauces and stuff. So I'm curious about that. I don't know. It was encouraging to see them doing something to Rio, because when Rio was bought by Caesars, Caesars just basically said, okay, we bought you. Now you're just going to have to survive on your own. And that property and that location was not capable of doing that without somebody really putting some effort in. I know people like to dog on Caesars. Caesars has a tendency or a reputation of the lower end properties in their portfolio do not get many resources.
Well, is that any different than MGM though?
Okay.
Just talked about the Dirty Castle.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, so here's my question then. Do you think that the lower end properties on the Caesars portfolio are higher quality than the lower end properties on the MGM portfolio?
Would you stay at Excalibur or Harrah's? Probably those are the two bottom, right? Or Flamingo, standard room. Which would you pick?
See, and that's a tough question.
And I'm picking Caesars because I'm diamond status.
Nobody knew that, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up.
Just thought I'd point that out. Actually, I am, though, because I wouldn't pay resort fees. But say I wouldn't pay resort fees at either. Both are comped. Which am I staying at? I'm staying at Caesars just because it's in the middle of the strip.
And I would say that is one advantage that Caesars does have. But would you, you switch locations and put the Excalibur where Flamingo is and vice versa? Which one are you picking?
Probably Excalibur because it's in the middle of the strip.
I know. So location makes a huge difference and maybe not the property so much. But
put them both at the end of the strip, and which one are you picking?
If I'm picking between Flamingo and Excalibur.
But they're both at the end of the strip.
Okay, I've stayed at both.
So they both have a bad location.
Okay, I've stayed at both, and I think I'd prefer Excalibur to Flamingo.
You just like the theming.
Well, Flamingo has some theming to it, but I would say that my room at Excalibur was cleaner than my room at Flamingo. And the only thing that made Flamingo more attractive to me than Excalibur was the location.
And we had a suite, so that's not a fair comparison. Hashtag humble brag.
They don't get more humble than you, Mike.
Hey, you, Geoff.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
Oh.
But it's fair. That's fair. We did have hot water for a while, Flamingo too, which I've learned is pretty common, actually.
I have heard that myself.
And that check-in experience was a nightmare.
And actually, it seems like
pretty common.
It seems like Flamingo is horrible for that.
And just Caesars in general, more than MGM.
You always see these huge lines at Flamingo. But, I've stayed at a lot of Caesars. I stayed at the Link. My check-in, other than the fact that they wouldn't let us check in until 3:30, was smooth as could be. I didn't have any problems, and there were a lot of people standing.
Maybe that's part of it, though. You're going to fucking charge people to check in early, so everybody has to wait until 3:30, and then you've got a fucking mess.
I don't disagree, and that's on Caesars, I think.
Well, it's just money grab. like everything. Resort fees, parking fees, early check-in fees, stupid.
Fees, right?
Take a shit fees.
The thing that sucks about it, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, I agree with you. Resort fees and the nickel diming bullshit that some of those places out, or that all of them do, not some of them, all of them do it, is ridiculous. But I can't wait to get back. How crazy is that? I mean, I can't wait to go back.
Not to pay the fees, but
not to pay the fees, but yeah, I mean, I just can't wait to be there. And yes, I'll bitch about the fees now. I'll bitch about the fees when I get there, and I'll bitch about them after I leave. But it's not stopping me from going.
It probably is stopping some people, though.
I do. I agree. I think it is.
Although I think they're setting record numbers for income and all that stuff, aren't they?
They are, but I think part of that has got to be the higher prices. And I know that they say occupancy rates at hotels in Vegas are at an all-time high too, which I don't doubt. But occupancy rates aren't necessarily indicative of money coming in, because how many of those people that are staying are getting their rooms comped?
How many of those people are booking 2 or 3 rooms and just staying at one of them?
I don't know. Never heard of that before.
Nobody would do that, would they?
All right. Well, we're getting into some good Vegas talk. I think we'll have to visit Vegas talk much more frequently in our next episode. But I know we wanted to kind of talk tonight about a little bit about your Hawaii trip, which is important. And we'll have other discussions outside of Vegas, because I think that's one of the things that will be nice about our little podcast is that, yes, we love Vegas. Yes, that's going to be the focus of a lot of our travel information, but there's so much out there to see, and so much information that I think that people that love Vegas might be interested in seeing these other places. So,
and you could read more about my Hawaii trip at stripwalking.com.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what everybody should do.
You like that plug there, Geoff?
I do like that. You can read about Mike's trip. You can read about my trip in December, which was actually at the same time as Mike's trip to Hawaii. He was in Hawaii and I was in Vegas, among other things, on our site. So yeah, that's the easiest way to kind of see what we're up to or what we're all about, is to go to stripwalking.com. On that site, it allows you to look at the different locations that we have filmed. And I say we have filmed because we both filmed, and that Mike has compiled into a workable, usable site, because I've done nothing with that.
It's not about who gets credit for what, Geoff.
But yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun, and you get to see a lot of fun little things, as well as just getting to see the place before you go, making plans before you go.
The core of the site is choosing where you want to walk and watching a video of actually walking that route. And what we're pretty proud of is you can choose your own route. If you want to walk from Caesar's Palace Casino to the Flamingo Habitat, you can pick those 2 spots and it'll show you the way to walk it, both on the map and a video. And we've done a couple other places, Disneyland, Omaha Zoo, more on the way too. Geoff ever gets to work.
I have to pull my weight at some point in this. So the other thing is you can always find us on all the social media sites. We are at Strip Walking. So that's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but that's not the Facebook address. Yeah, but we are on Facebook. Yeah,
Strip Walking.
Is it Strip Walking on Facebook? Okay, very good. So yeah, check us out on those. We like to post
YouTube.
YouTube is actually where we keep all of our videos. But we have some.
Yes, so we would appreciate a subscription.
Yes. If you subscribe, those things help us as we do go forward with this. We also have some kick-ass merch that Mike has designed. On that site, there's some really fun.
It's not about who gets the credit, Geoff.
It isn't, but Mike has done the lion's share of the work with regard to that. And so, yeah, go check it out. We have some really unique designs. And I know that the people that we have talked to that have purchased merch, or that we have, given merch out to them as a promotional type situation, have enjoyed what is on there. So yeah, check it out.
We should give away a t-shirt sometime on the podcast.
I think we should. I think that would be fun. I think that would be a nice little thing if we could have somebody figure out a way to give away some free merch to somebody that's listening to us. So
your mom would look great in a Craps t-shirt.
again, we want to thank you all for listening to us talk and ramble and bicker back and forth. It's kind of fun. We enjoy just the conversation and talking about places that we just absolutely love. I think that's all we got. I don't know, Mike, you got anything else to add?
Nope.
There he is, the man of many words. So I guess we'll say goodbye for tonight, and we'll.
Thanks for listening. Go to stripwalking.com. That's all I got.
All right. So like Mike said, thank you for listening. Check us out at stripwalking.com, and you guys have a great night.
Jeff's a dumbass.
Yeah, don't listen to that.
Good night.
Have a good night.
What if it's during the day when they're listening to it?
I think we're overthinking this. Have a good one.
Have a good one. There you go. Day or night.
Don't tell me what to do.